Sell it. All right, then get on the phone to Geneva and dump the gold. No, I have to have another $5 million, Bill. No, Bill, there's no time to discuss. I have to be shooting by September 1. We're in business. All right, writers. Who wrote Last Tango?
Beats me.
That's, my God, Cully, neither one of us knows who wrote Last Tango.
I hated it. I can never remember the names of people that perpetrate something I hate.
But that's the trouble, don't you see? I hated it too.
In my opinion, a discretionary judgment.
But we're wrong, Cully. That's what they want. That's where it's at.
It's been my experience that every time I think I know where it's at, it's usually somewhere else.
Come on, old son, you know as well as I do that if we're going to stay in business, if we are to remain filmmakers in any sense of the word, we must shake off the rusty shackles of the past, observe the present for what it is, and the future for what it will become, like it or not. Then we must make our creative comment.
This is probably going to be one of many segments I do on my favorite director, Bale Edwards. There's something about the way a Bale Edwards movies looks that I just love. A lot of people don't go for Bale Edwards. They say he's the guy that did the Pink Panther movies, a lot of slapstick, and there's not a lot there. But there actually is a lot behind what he did. I think he's kind of overlooked by a lot of people because they remember some of his grand failures. A little background, Bale Edwards directed Breakfast at Tiffany's, the Pink Panther movies, all of them except the Alan Arkin one. He did a movie called Darling Lily. His wife is Julie Andrews, and she made a movie with Rock Hudson called Darling Lily in '69. It was kind of a comedy about war and during World War I, and it had some music in it, and it was a big flop. A lot of money was spent. It basically was a flop. So Bale Edwards made a couple of other movies. He did one called The Wild Rovers. It was a Western which didn't go over too well, and a couple of spy movies. And Hollywood really treated him like crap after that. He got a lot of people were laughing at him and everything. And then he decided, well, let me bring Peter Sellers out. Because Peter Sellers at the time, I think, was just doing a lot of like really B-movie, bad comedy stuff at this point, early 70s. And so he brought him back and he had him bring Inspector Clouseau back. So Return of the Pink Panther made a whole bunch of money. Then he made all these Pink Panther movies. He made all this money now. And so then he made 10, which a lot of you remember, put Bo Derek on the map. Running with her cornrows down the beach. It was, wonderful, beautiful. 10 became a pretty big hit, a critical hit, as well as a commercial hit. So this gave Blake the opportunity to explore themes he wanted to explore without the restrictions that he had before. Movie making was becoming a little bit more permissive at the time. And of course, the Pink Panther movies, you can only go so far with it. So after he made 10, he was able to do this movie, SOB. It was just known as the movie where Julie Andrews takes her top off. Not the reason I went to see it, because I, had a crush on Christy McNichol, but that's another sad story. I saw this movie in Seguin, Texas, in a little theater. They have this big theater, and then it's called the Palace Theater, and they had this. They created this little space above with a little screen, and it was a horrible place to see a movie. It's the first place I saw Blazing Saddles. It doesn't have anything to do with the movie, but I just thought I'd throw that in because I like talking about little screens. This movie was basically a satire about Hollywood, and I loved satires after this because what Bale Edwards did is it was a big fuck you to Hollywood. Hollywood treated him like shit, and he said, I'm going to make this movie, and he made it, and it just was a big fuck you to Hollywood. And he had William Holden's last movie. He did Sunset Boulevard, he did Network, the incredible guy. Richard Mulligan from SOB, Robert Preston, who after this movie, he did Victor Victoria and went on to do a whole bunch of movies before he died. He was a great actor from the 40s and 50s. He was bringing all these old chestnuts out to do this great satire. Basically, the story involved, Richard Mulligan played Bale Edwards, basically. He made this big movie that was a flop. He was going to commit, the whole first half of the movie is Felix trying to commit suicide. And this is what I love about Bale Edwards. He was able to do a comedy about this guy trying to commit suicide. And it was really funny. It was slapstick, and you're laughing at this thing, and the guy's trying to commit suicide. That's brilliant black comedy, but the way Bale Edwards shoots this stuff is you feel like you're watching a cartoon, but the subject matter is very dark, and it's hard to do it like he does it. He's able to pull it off, in my opinion. So Richard Mulligan's trying to commit suicide. His wife is an actress, and they've made this Disney movie practically. It's this this beautiful little family film, and it flops. So he's trying to commit suicide, and all of a sudden he has this revelation in the middle of an orgasm, there's an orgy. You got to remember, this is like 1981, so all of the satires at the time dealt with everybody smoked pot and had orgies, which was very daring. And so in the middle of an orgy, Richard Mulligan has an orgasm and decides, hey, I have an idea. I'm going to make the same movie, but I'm going to do it like a porno movie.
I got it! Woo-hoo! the answer. We'll give them a $40 million pornographic, epic.
And so he changes the movie into this thing where he's going to have his wife, who's basically the Mary Poppins character, who Julie Andrews really was. She was the actress in Mary Poppins. And this actually was brilliant because he was actually doing, as the director and the husband of this actress, what the character was doing in the movie with the actress who's actually his real wife, in real life. So you see there's a lot of tie-in with this. The rest of the movie is them trying to pull off this, and they deal with the studios, and he's slamming. I mean, Blake Edwards is just slamming the hell out of these studios by making this movie. He's like lampooning everything, and Loretta Swit plays this gossip columnist, and it's just hilarious. He hijacks the film back because they're going to take it away from him, and this is the brilliant thing about Blake Edwards. When he shoots the scene of him getting shot, it's like this comic slapstick chase through Beverly Hills, and then it's like he's got the tape, he gets shot by a security guard, and the shot's done in slow-mo like Peckinpah, or it's just this really cool shot, and you're going, wait a minute, I'm watching a comedy here, what's up with this? This isn't funny. It was great. But then the last part of the movie, a lot of people say the movie should have stopped right there, but no, they didn't. What he did is he has the three buddies, Robert Preston, Robert Webber, and William Holden, taking the corpse. This was before Weekend at Bernie's, my young friends. He did it before. They're taking the corpse around, and they're just driving around with him like with sunglasses on, trying to pretend he's still alive. And then they give him a Viking burial. And he goes out to sea at the end, and it's like that's Hollywood going out, and they've got a little Viking hat, and Richard Mulligan's going out there in the boat, and there's William Holden and Robert Preston and Robert Webber looking out at, and it's kind of like the end of the current Ocean's 11, where the guys are watching the old Vegas, go by, and there's Carl Reiner, goodbye, and then Julie Andrews is at the funeral where they think that he's going to be, and she's singing this beautiful hymn over this scene. It's just, it's just a brilliant film, and it means so much. And I watch it about once a year now, and it's more powerful to me every time I watch it. You got to watch it on the DVD widescreen with the beautiful. That's the way you got to watch this film. Don't get one of those pan and scan VHS. You don't want to do that. Especially if you want to see Julie Andrews. This is the great movie, SOB. Don't let anybody knock it before you go see it. And I'm going to stop right there because I'm getting real excited here. Thanks, man.